If you're a small business owner wanting to set up Google Ads for yourself, this video will be very helpful in showing you exactly how to do that. Recently, we did a Google Ads workshop with small business clients here on the Sunshine Coast in Australia, and I walked them through how to set up their Google search campaigns. We conduct keyword research to see what are people searching on average per month. I explain the different types of keywords and how they work, how they relate to your business, and then how to set up a Google search campaign with headlines, descriptions, site links, and all of the other assets that would be helpful. So sit back and relax and enjoy this workshop. Hopefully you find it helpful. And if you are eager to talk to somebody to get some help with your Google Ads, you can always book in a free call with yours truly. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this workshop. So what we're gonna do now, guys, is I'm gonna start jumping into an actual Google account, an ads account, and I wanna make sure that we all are able to follow along with our Google Ads as well. So what we're gonna do now, you've literally joined at the right time, Rose. We're gonna jump into a Google Ads account and we're gonna go through. I will work around the room, so if you guys do have questions or you get stuck or there's anything there that you're kind of like, huh? Just put up your hand, say, Kyle, can you come around? I just wanna have a look at this. We'll dive in. What I've got in front of me is, I'm gonna see if I can drag this over. Can everyone see that okay? This is a example test account. So hopefully there'll be nothing too embarrassing in here. But essentially what we're gonna do is I'm gonna walk you through how we can set up a campaign and how this all works. So again, is this the first time for some people doing Google Ads? Yeah, okay, so I'll go through the basics in terms of how this works. So to get here, in your browser, it's ads.google.com. And I'll get you guys to jump in there now, just so that you can see, hopefully, the same thing that I can see on the big screen. I'm loving how big this screen is. It's really awesome. It makes it nice and easy for the people at the back. So normally in a Google Ads account, if you're running ads, you'll have some like dashboards or some charts here that shows you like how many clicks you're getting, how many impressions you're getting, and you can customize some of the metrics to see what this looks like. I've got a client who's very graciously allowed me to go through their account. So I'm gonna see if I can quickly show you what that would look like. So I've got an account here that is a real account, and essentially they are running Google Ads. They have done for a long time. They've got branches in Queensland, Melbourne, and Perth, and they're spending about $5,000 a month, making 35 grand in sales, and they're getting about 4,000 clicks on their Google Ads with 168,000 impressions. What does this mean? Impressions are how many times have my ads been shown to people? And it could be the same person, right? It could be retargeting. Poor Ellis has seen our ads 10 times, for example, but that's gonna be counted as total impressions. Clicks are pretty self-explanatory. How many people have clicked on our ads and gone through to the website to see what we are trying to sell? You can change these guys. So you can actually go in here and choose, okay, I wanna look at average cost per click, which is CPC. And I wanna know with that yellow line, is my line going drastically up suddenly? Is it going down? Or is it staying pretty neutral? And the good news with this account is everything's looking pretty even, right? We don't see any massive deviations in our charts where suddenly things are going absolutely gangbusters in the wrong direction. If sales are going up, not a bad thing. If sales are going down, you might want to look at how we can change that or fix that. So this is an example of a Google Ads account and what it would look like. On the left-hand side, you should have a bunch of different icons that will go through bit by bit. When we're setting up a campaign, this will make far more sense than just going through it one by one, but essentially there's a lot built into Google Ads. One of the things that I love to geek out on is in the tools, there's a section where we can do keyword planning. Keyword planning is what I was talking about before. How do I know what people are searching on Google before I start setting things up? The reason that's good, we want to know what are the most popular types of searches for our industry so that we can talk to those searches rather than I think people are searching whatever, right? We want to make sure that we've done our research before we write an ad, before we set up a campaign, because that's the most important thing to do. So we'll go through that in a little bit. The overview section of Google Ads is basically where we can see a snapshot of everything and look through to see a lot of different things in terms of how we're performing. Can you guys see okay at the back? Is this, yep, cool. So the reason I'm showing you this is that Google will tell you, and I think it's great, how you're doing in terms of a percentage score. and they will always recommend things to help improve your campaigns and make things better. Sometimes these are genuine recommendations that are good to follow. Other times they're genuine recommendations that help Google make more money. So you want to be careful with which ones you follow, because oftentimes they'll be like, hey, we think you should spend more money. And you're like, oh, okay. I wonder why you're telling me that. And you can disregard some of these suggestions. So the recommendations, you can see these guys are scoring 96.7%. Some campaigns are doing better than others, but most of them are doing pretty good. So that's good. That means that we're doing our job. We're going through and we're optimizing the campaigns and things are going well. There's a lot of really cool stuff in here that I quite like to look at. For example, the day and hour charts. So you can see here, what times a day are people really taking notice? These guys, just to give them a bit of props, they sell bathroom tiles and a few other things. And obviously Sunday, Monday seems to be, for whatever reason, like very popular times for people to browse. Sunday, especially in the afternoon. So we can see here that Sunday evenings, they're getting most of their impressions. That's that heat map here. And it looks like from 1 till 8 p.m., heaps of people are clicking through and doing their shopping. So Sunday seems to be a good day for bathroom renos and research and looking at supplies. This is great because when you become a bit more geeky and you're really feeling confident with Google Ads, you can start going, all right, I only want my ads to show between 9 to 5 on Sunday for whatever reason, or 1 to 8 p.m. on Sunday, because you can drill in and see, when am I getting the best bang for my buck? And if I'm getting like all my sales, like I've been advertising for months and all my sales seem to be coming in on a Sunday, maybe I should just advertise on a Sunday, right? If I am able to do that, then you've got 7 times the budget, roughly. You're not wasting money on other days. So these things are good to look at. And I generally try to recommend looking at these at least once a month, because it's just good to run through it. And some people like to look at it a lot more. The more you spend, the more you should look at these, I think. That's probably a good rule of thumb. But if you're spending 20 bucks a day overall in your account, once a month should be fine to go through and look at things and go, all right, like where are things working best? On the right-hand side, we can see campaigns and see how are my campaigns doing. We can see how many clicks we're getting, the cost that we're spending, and the click-through rate, or CTR. We'll talk a bit more about metrics in a second, but there's many different metrics that you can look at to understand, am I doing well or am I doing not so well? Click-through rate's one of them, because the click-through rate is basically how many people are actually clicking on my ad. And if it's higher, it means that you're targeting the right person or you have the right offer and people are interested. If it's lower, like this one here, obviously is a bit lower, that one might be like, okay, what are we trying to achieve here? And are we landing with the right person? We're really trying to drive people in store, whereas these other ones are trying to get them to buy online. Maybe people are like, I don't want to come into the store, and they're just not as interested. So that's a difference between those. A few more things I'll quickly cover off, and then we'll dive into the fun stuff, which is keyword research. I think it's fun, is looking at like the demographics and the devices as well. So demographics is good because you might target just a set demo, but this will tell you, is it actually the right demo for you, right? Like for me, I'm surprised that for bathroom, maybe not surprised, but the most popular age group and gender is females aged 35 to 44. Looking at bathroom tiles? No way, that's crazy. It's interesting to see that's the demo. And then it's the same for men. Like that age group seems to be the one that's most popular for this client. So all of this to say, guys, the reason it's good to look at this is that if you're noticing that it's working well on one particular age group, one gender, one device type, one time of day, you can really start to narrow in and hone your targeting on that particular demographic or that particular time of day. If you're not 24/7, maybe you just want to have your ads running 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, right? But maybe people are doing all their booking at 1 a.m. for whatever reason. So you might not want to narrow it in. So it's good to go broad and then over time, narrow things down and focus in. It's the same with device types. Most clients nowadays, it's dominating, like mobile is where people are buying. It's where people are spending most of their time. So mobile is definitely a key type. They're starting to look at TV screens for YouTube ads as well. Computer is this tiny little yellow bit. It's almost scary how little computers we target for a lot of people, but you can see how it breaks down. So this is the overview page in Google Ads. It should be the first place that pops up when you type in ads. So Google, I can see on Lee's screen that it's popping up. Was everybody able to jump into Google Ads? Okay, cool. So that's no problem. We'll open this up. So what did you get up to when you were going into the Google Ads screen? Oh dear. So might need, okay, yeah. So it looks like you've got like a new account that's being set up. So I reckon if you start going through that setup process and just finish setting up your account, it should hopefully let you jump in. So what we're gonna do, guys, we'll spend a few minutes just making sure everyone's got a Google Ads account, if that's okay. I'm assuming, Rose, you might have one as well. Okay, fantastic. A plus, well done.
Earlier.
Oh, nice. Yep, and you're in as well. Fantastic, fantastic. Hello.
Hello.
All right, perfect. So if you click start now and just go through the process of setting up an account, basically it'll just prompt you through step by step. Oh, cool. Yeah, it looks like it's already taking you straight in, but what it's going to ask is, who are you? Tell us about your business, and it probably will try to get you to set up a campaign, but see if you can work through that really quickly for me. You scroll down. Oh yeah, perfect. All right, excellent. So just fill out your business name. All right, great, guys.
Can you add some of those hidden? So you add
Yeah.
and graphics and things like that?
Yeah,
I
so,
can't see here.
okay, so you're in campaigns overview. So sometimes it depends. Yeah, it's like automatically adds things in. Yeah, so it's one of those things where if you scroll down further, yeah, so you've got the days and hours up here. You've got your networks there. And then it could just be because of the campaign types as well that you're running, but yeah, sometimes it does show automatically. Other times it's not quite there. You can add a few things in here, but most of them are now just dynamically added in by Google, which is always great. So the age and gender might be something that it needs a bit more data potentially, but it looks like you've definitely got enough data. And you're looking at it from January to February. Maybe try going show the last 30 days. So at the very top, should have that show last 30 days and see if it changes anything that last 30 days. Perfect. All right, so while we're waiting for, just give me a thumbs up once you've got the Google Ads ready to roll, and we can continue forward. What we're going to do next, guys, is I'm going to get us to go in to, once we're ready, to go in and do some keyword research together. And I'm going to show you how you can put in your URL, you can choose the region that you want to target, and then it will spit out a whole bunch of suggested searches that might be relevant to your business. So we'll do that next once we're ready to go through that. Does anybody have any other questions though about, I guess, the overview of Google Ads? There's a lot to go through. All good then.
When we run a Google Ad, can we delete certain section on the keyword search?
Can you what, sorry?
Yes, go and target certain people.
Yep.
Both part of Google Ads and from other real estate agents.
Yep.
Is there a way that I can make sure my competition better see that?
So you're wanting to make sure that your competitors can't see.
Well, the competitors about that in a way that I know that they is targeting me. Right?
Oh, so can, yeah, I see. So can you create like exclusion?
Yeah.
Less you can. It's a bit hard though to know how do you identify your competitors, right? So it's hard to say without an IP address, or to answer your question, because it's a little bit tricky, you can exclude people who visited websites, or you can exclude people at certain locations, certain IP address.
Can I exclude certain people that exceeded that target?
Exceeded that target?
I search Google real estate.com. You can understand it.
Gotcha.
And I exclude people that think search for real estate.com more than 10 times a day.
That's a very interesting question. We can have a look at it. We can see if we can. I've not thought of excluding people who search real estate too excessively. Yeah. Yeah. True. Yeah, absolutely. There are ways that you can build up exclusion lists. So I think that's what Nico's like asking is like, how do you exclude people who are your competitors or people who are trying to waste time? Or it's hard because there's always going to be people who are your competitors and they're clicking on your ads because they see it pop up. They're like, oh, screw this guy. I'm going to click on his ad. It's hard to exclude that 100%. But there are ways where you can do it in a way that's, because you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot and exclude people who are like avid real estate. They're really hot searching for properties.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Yeah, so there are ways you can definitely do it. What we'll talk about a little bit, because I want to do the keyword research first. Are we okay, ladies, in terms of moving forward? Yeah, okay, awesome. So there's a few things that you really want to start with Google Ads. And I think a really good place to start is the keyword planner, keyword research, because this is something that you'll need to know or need to do when you're doing Google Ads. So on the left-hand side of Google Ads, you can go to the Tools section, and I want you guys to navigate to the Keyword Planner with me. Now I'm going to jump out of this client's account because I don't want to mess anything up. So I'm going to go into this example account, and we're going to jump into the Keyword Planner. The great thing about this is you can do it in many different ways. When I say you can do this in many different ways, you can put in a website. So generally that's the first thing we'll do when we start working with a client is we'll go, okay, let's jump into the Keyword Planner. Let's see if we can discover new keywords that are in relation to their business. So I'm going to get each of you guys to do this for me as well, just so you can see what is Google coming up with for your business. It's a good exercise for SEO as well. Does everyone here already? They're all, yep, great. So I'll get you to click on Discover New Keywords, and you should see what I see here as well. There's two options for us. We can start with keywords, which a good idea would be your services, or services would probably be a good one. So it could be real estate, it could be sharpening, blade sharpening, knife sharpening, and so on. Or you can start with a website, which is what I'm going to get us to do because it's a bit easier than trying to go too specific and going too granular. So in here, we want to type in our website. So I'm going to type in socialgeeks.com.au. And before we hit enter, we're going to make sure that we've got all the settings right. If you are like me and you're lucky enough that you can work all around Australia and you can take clients from all over, that's fine. You can leave the default, which should be Australia, unless you set up your account in Denmark or something weird, but should show Australia. Or if you are like lovely Ellis here and Andrew as well, you're probably going to want to narrow it in because Australia is too far to travel for, yeah, okay. So yeah, we probably want to click on Australia. And what it will do is it will say, okay, so what locations? No, okay, cool. We'll come around. I'll get you guys who are local folk to type in where you want to target. Now, unfortunately, it's not going to go too granular, but you can go down to postcode level. So if you want to do Noosa, for example, you should be able to include Noosa, and it will give you a few options, right? So we can go, okay, Noosaville as a, or this is Noosa Shire. So we can include that and we can go a little bit more granular. It'll even show you how many people are available on the Google Ads platform, on their network. How many people could we potentially reach? So it's showing us we got about 95,000 people in the Noosa Shire, which might be good. And we can go from there. So I'm just going to quickly see if I can help lovely Juanita and get this working. Shall we? Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah. Do you know what it's doing? Is it trying to get you to go through and start a campaign? I think what it might be doing as well, sometimes it goes into, it's got like smart mode where it's like trying to dummy it down for you. What we'll do is we'll get out of here, back. Okay, so performance max. Yeah, you've gone.
That's worked.
I know it's always this way though, I expect. So what it's trying to do is it's trying to get you to set up a whole campaign, which is fine, but we don't need to do that quite yet. So I'm just going to say discard. All right, so we've got this. That's probably going to go straight back to where we just were. Yeah. All right, so we got that. All right, cool. So I'm going to hit skip. And then hopefully I can skip this too. Otherwise, it's going to try to get me to continue creating this. Oh, did you see there was a little thing down the bottom that said, if you just want to set up your account, we can do this. Oh, I swear it said that. All right.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah, perfect.
It's right at the
Yeah. So with this, we should be okay to go. What it's doing is it's just creating like your account here and setting up your payment profile. You don't have to do this right now. So we can say, do you want a personalized setup? Do you want to get onto their emails? So what we'll do is we'll just skip all that because we're going to go through it together anyways. I'm going to cancel this because again, we can set up the payments later.
always linked.
I know. All right. It's looks like there should be a skip option here. Oh, you did? Yeah. Okay. So what I'll get you to do, if it's okay, is maybe just set that last step up and we should be good to go. All right, gentlemen, looks like you're...
Do you mind with multiple options?
There's so many. I think so. Yeah. And remember, this is just to research what are people searching in that area. So you can go broader, but we probably want to focus on where are we actually going to be targeting people for their business or for as customers. You can. The thing here, guys, is I do keyword research repeatedly. I'll start broad and then I'll go, okay, now I want to target Brisbane, or now I want to go and look at this service. So I'll do multiple rounds of keyword research and I export each of them, which I'll show you how to do. I export each of these as a sheet, as a spreadsheet, and then I use that to plan out our strategy. So we're going to go through that together just so I can show you how this works. And I'll jump back so that it's Australia-wide. All right. Is everyone with me so far? Everyone ready to go to the next step? Perfect.
Just with the search one, do you know how to define the search area? Like we've got,
Yep.
I can go through them. And I'm off read.
Yeah. This is a lot of the Sunshine Coast, isn't it? Yeah. I want to target the hinterland.
Areas.
You do have to, but just remember, this is only for the keyword research. So when you're running the campaigns, it'll be different. You might want to go more broad. You might want to just go, like, I know it's a pain in the butt, but you might want to go in here and just go, okay, I want to do Sunshine Coast or Southeast Queensland. Or you might just go Queensland in general and see, okay, I want to target everyone in Queensland instead of Australia, just so that you can see what are people searching in a broader area. You can't do a radius. I don't know why. When you run campaigns, you can say, I want to target people only in the radius of 10 kilometers around my location. You can do that. With research, you can't. It's quite frustrating. So yeah, the Sunshine Coast I found is like the sliver of the coast. And you're like, I want to look all like broadly, but it just doesn't do that. And then going through one by one, my goodness, who has time for these things? But I'll put in each and every postcode. No thanks. It can be really painful, but unfortunately, yeah.
It's sound from Boston, Sydney, looking for disaster.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're putting Boston, Sydney, or you put
This is a great question. In your campaign settings, which we'll cover off later, you can say, I'm targeting this area, and you can choose it's people in that location or it's people in that location plus people interested in that location. So for you, we probably keep it as the latter. For most other businesses, I would say make it so that they have to be in that location, because knife sharpening, if somebody's searching knife sharpening Sunshine Coast, but they're in Melbourne, they're not really going to sign up, are they? They're not going to go. But for you, for sure, like for massage, like they might be coming up from Sydney, from Melbourne, from anywhere else. So you want to make sure that if they are in those locations, they're not being excluded. So it's a great question, and that's at the campaign settings. For the keyword research, this is just telling us what are people searching. So you could do really broadly all of Australia, right? And you're just seeing what are people searching for Noosa massage. That could be a way of doing it. So I'm just trying to show you how this works so that you can dive a bit deeper into it, but just start with a broad search. So I'm going to click Get Results, guys, and just show you how this would work for you guys as well. With this keyword research, what it should do is it should be smart enough to see what you're all about from the content on your website and give you some suggested ideas in terms of what people are searching to find you and your services. So we can see here that, thank God, digital marketing we're coming up for. So that's a great suggestion, Google. And you can see that if I extend this out a little bit, these are all the topics that Google, I'm going to close this down. Now I'm struggling to read that from here. That must be in any classes. Is everyone okay to see that? Yep, cool. All right. So what we can see here on the keyword research chart is it gives us an annual projection, or actually an annual summary of the actual searches over the last 12 months for the keywords that it's suggesting I might be interested in. So based off my website, which is socialgeeks.com.au, little plug there, you're able to see that we are coming up for digital marketing services, online marketing, web marketing, social media marketing, and all the different combinations. It's telling me that I've got 1,200 keyword ideas available, and it's able to show me the average monthly searches for each of these different topics. So these are called keywords. Keywords are essentially what people are searching, but the reason keywords and searches are separate is that keywords are like, these could be used in a longer string of searches. So if somebody says, who is the best digital marketing agency on the Sunshine Coast? That would be included in digital marketing and the average searches. So it's a keyword within a longer search. So you can see here as well, there's like a seasonal variation, which is quite interesting. I imagine that you're probably in most industries, we'll see like real estate for sure. Like you're probably getting into your busy months now, I'd imagine, like it's starting to pick up. So you'll probably have a lot more of a seasonal volume change. I find that January is when people are kind of like, all right, you know what? This is the year that I'm going to grow my business and things are going to go great. So digital marketing, let's get into it. What? Oh, no way. Okay. It's probably because I'm special and no, I don't know. That's very strange. I'm just going to go back and just have a quick look. That is so strange. Use the entire site. You just put in your website. I'm just going to go back. Is that? Oh, it's got rid of it entirely for me. Sorry. Try again. Start from the beginning.
Yeah.
All right. So maybe I'll just get you to chuck it in. Start with the website. Oh, perfect. Guys, I'm at a complete loss as to why I'm seeing all the fancy charts and everyone is not. I just thought that everyone saw this, to be honest.
Does that be side keywords?
It shouldn't. I haven't saved anything. I've just gone in and done it this way. So
Is it your size track most keywords?
it could be. It could be. Like, I think that, how many keywords is it coming up for keyword ideas? Can I ask? Nothing. Okay. Okay.
14.
Yeah. 14. Okay. 222. Okay. So not to do a little humble brag here, but we do a lot of SEO work on our website. And this kind of shows you what Google is able to identify on your website. So it's going to give you more context if it can see what you're all about. So if your website isn't maybe SEO, it hasn't had a lot of SEO work, you might not get as much results from it. If that's the case, you can go back to the keyword planner. And here's another way to do it. Rather than putting in your website, you can type in your services and have it there. So another one might be like digital marketing near me. And you can do it this way and build out, I think generally you can do about 10 keywords in this planner, and then you can hit get results. And again, what that should show us is, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that this works for most of us. Don't put in your website to filter it, because that typing in the keywords here will tell you every search for those types of keywords and suggested ones in relation. If you put in your website and you weren't getting those fancy charts, then don't put in your website. It will filter it down further based off your website there. So I might try a different industry. I might try real estate, just because why not? Real estate agent, real estate agency, just as an example, just to see if my charts disappear and get results. All right, wow. There's a lot of searches here, Lee. 5 million a month. So let's see if that's working. So has,
The chart review.
interesting. There is a chart setting that I thought just popped up automatically. See if I can come around, guys. The chart is nice to have, but it's not a need to have, if I'm honest. What we're really looking for is not so much the fancy charts, but we want to look at what are the keywords or the searches that people are most popularly searching in our industry. So what I can see here for real estate, because I'm actually, sorry guys, I just realized that if I have that collapsed, the chart pops up. So there might be a little icon here that you might be able to pop that little chart open. See if that's on your, I'm flummoxed. I have no idea how I've gotten a chart and you guys don't. This is very strange. I've never seen it without a chart. So I'm at a bit of a loss as to why that's not coming up. What I'll do though, guys, is I'll just continue talking through what this is all about. So if we scroll down, what Google is giving us in terms of information is with different ideas in relation to what we've said we want to know more about. So I've just put in real estate agent, real estate agency, 3 keywords as ideas. And it's given me another nearly 1,000 keyword ideas for us to look at together. We can see here that real estate is searched 3.3 million times per month on average in Australia. That's a lot of searches. Real estate agents is a little bit less, 22,000 searches on average. And we can see as well on the right-hand side, a few extra helpful features or bits of information. The first one, is this growing over the last 3 months, or is it shrinking? And is it growing or shrinking year on year? So this is really good for seasonal variations as well as longer term trends. Just to see if you want to target a keyword, but it's shrinking by 100% per year, might be a bit of a dying trend. So it's just good to know, just to see if there are big changes.
So, for example, one year, was it year on year?
Yep.
It says for message news clicks, right? Exactly. Minus 90%.
Up?
Minus.
Minus, yeah. Okay. And that's year on year. Wow. Okay. So this is a dummy account that I've got, but I think because we're an agency and we have a management account, so that could be why we're getting some extra features. I didn't realize. So yeah, that could be it.
So it's just minus 90% suggests that you're not less people are searching for that.
That's what it means. But that's again, it could be just year on year. Last year was like an absolute boom. And then maybe this year it might be great again. It's just showing you the last 12 months in comparison to the previous 12 months. So what I normally do, guys, with this, because I'm a geek, I will go, all right, based off this, I'm going to figure out what do I want to target based on what people are searching, right? And before we went through and we talked about different types of searches. We have the transactional, we have commercial, informational, and so on. What we probably want to do is we want to look at, okay, so what are some actual like topics here that are getting a lot of searches that I might be able to target to see if I can get more people through to my website to consider my services. For real estate, it's a bit hard. You probably wouldn't maybe want to target real estate as a general keyword, but when you first start out, it might not hurt to include in these search terms. And you can always, like I said before, narrow it down. My way of working with Google Ads is I'll set up my campaigns very broadly, and over time, I'll narrow things down once you start seeing different things working and other things not. You can filter out the things that aren't working, and you can add more budget to the things that are working. So that's search terms, that's demographics, that's times a day, all of those things. You start, it's like you're making a statue out of marble, you know what I mean? First, you're going to start with a big block, and you over time will chisel it down until you have your David? I don't know. I don't know statues. Michelangelo. So you're trying to narrow that down. So from here, we can see average monthly searches. Real estate's super popular. I've clicked here and it's filtered it from largest to smallest keywords. So you're going to see the most broad topics. And these might not be great, but at least it's giving us a bit more of an example of what people are searching. So Ray White, domain, realestate.com. Those are like the top searches in relation to this. It looks like commercial real estate for some reason has gone up by 22% month on month, year on year, which is interesting. And on the far right here, guys, this is actually something that I think would be really relevant for us to know is like, how much does it cost approximately to get a click on these keywords? So for real estate, sometimes it can be super expensive, but it doesn't look like it's like really bad at the moment. So top of the page, low bid, this is saying, look, if you in your business were to bid on real estate as a keyword, the lowest that you'd be looking to pay would probably be like 2 cents, which would be amazing. That would be a great, hey, I'll pay 2 cents for a click. Top of page, the high range might be about $3 a click. So this gives you a ballpark figure of how much it might cost you to get people to click through from a Google ad to your website for these different searches. What I do here, guys, is I will generally, for the businesses that I work with, I'll put in their website, I'll put in some of their services, and I'll do multiple rounds of keyword research and download them. You've got a little download button up here. Hopefully you guys have a download button. Yeah, okay, good. I'll click this and I'll download it as a Google Sheet. And what I'll do is I'll just name the sheet as whatever it is that I'm searching for, the area that I'm searching, and I'll have multiple of these full different sheets that I'll use. So just as an example, for this one, I'm searching real estate Australia-wide. So what I would do is I would say real estate. It's always when people are watching that you can't type. And then AU. And I'd have that as like, all right, these are the keyword stats for this. And I'd hit save, and then I'd move on to the next one. If I was going to go really deep into this, I'd probably be looking more for, I guess for you, Lee, I'd probably be looking for more transactional keywords. I'd be looking for stuff that's really focused on working with a real estate agent, and I'd be looking more specific to my region, to my area. So I'd be going more Sunshine Coast, where you can go in here and change that. And I'd be looking at words that I think would be like a lot more relevant than just real estate. But you also do want to look at the big picture. How many people are searching for this? What are the topics that people might be searching? And before I jump into this, can you guys all see refined keywords? Can you guys see that? Okay, good. So keyword research can be really like, how long is a piece of string? You can go as deep as you want down this rabbit hole. But refining keywords can be really helpful to go through. Remember how I said before, there's different types of searches? In here, you can go, all right, I just want to see informational keywords, and it will help you in filtering those based on property for sale, property to rent, for example. Professional, it would be like, okay, like realtor isn't really used in Australia as far as I am aware, but it still seems to be Google suggests that. So you've got like for professional keywords, you can say, okay, I want to target real estate agent and realtor as keyword ideas. You can do brand searches as well. So if I don't want to look at any of our competitors for Lee, I would say, don't show me any other brands. Take those all out. I just want to see non-branded keywords, and I can filter those down. So this is really helpful to be able to find those transactional keywords, those, because informational can sometimes be a bit of a hard slog, and you're trying to find more transactional kind of keywords where people are saying, I want to buy a house, or I want to work with a real estate agent. You can start filtering those down a lot more to be able to see. So on my screen, I can see all different types of things in this refined keywords. I can see informational, which I'll take out. I can see professional, which shows me real estate agent. There's 640 different keywords for real estate agents and combinations thereof. I can see brands versus non-brands. So I'm taking out like Century 21, Savills, Coldwell Bankers. I'm like, I don't want to see those guys. I can then go through and I can look at even like housing types. So if I wanted to, I could filter out apartments or condos or whatever else. So you can actually go quite granular into this. And you can even look at like things like sector. Like if you don't do commercial property, you probably want to take commercial property out. If you don't do agricultural, industrial, you can take those out. These are all things that you can, based on your particular service. If you're doing mobile massage, then you might want to go through here and filter out the things that you don't do. So you can see only the types of searches in relation to your service. The reason that this is very helpful is that it's very easy to get overwhelmed with keyword research, and there's too many keywords to choose from. So you do want to basically narrow that down to the things that are most specific to you, to your area, to your service. And once you have that refined and you're happy with that, like for here, I've filtered it down from 958 keywords down to 451, which is still a hell of a lot of keywords. But that's probably more specific to a real estate agent than that focuses on residential than commercial and all your competitors' names and all of that jazz. So I've filtered that down. And then now I could go, okay, great, that's really good. I'm going to download that into a Google Sheet. The reason I do it into a Google Sheet is I have a worksheet that I'll send you guys after the session today to help me in writing Google ads. But for the quick version, you're able to take this and turn it into a plan where you're able to then go, all right, now that I've got like some really great keywords here, I want to take the keywords that I really like. And let's say I'm taking these 10, which are very broad. I'm able to start creating ads from this screen here. So if I wanted to, I could pick some of the searches that I say, these are relevant to me or Lee, probably more specifically as a real estate agent. These are super relevant to me. So I'm going to create a search campaign. I'm going to target these searches. You'd be able to select them in the keyword planner and go, great, I want to create a new ad group, or I want to add these keywords to a plan. So you can do it within Google, but personally, I like to export, put it into a spreadsheet, and I've got a bit more control. I like Excel. I don't know about you guys, but it's very easy to be able to filter things and refine things. Not so easy to do it in here, just because it's a bit clunkier. You can't apply filters as easy. So this, guys, is very technical, but it's a great way to be able to see the average monthly searches for different keywords to help you in thinking about what you want to target. What I'll do is I'll just come around the group just to kind of make sure everyone's all good. But has everyone been able to follow along so far and be able to do some keyword research? Yeah, awesome. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, so
How did you add
What?
you should be able to, on the left-hand side, you have a little tick box. So you're able to tick them one by one, or you can,
The real low.
okay. So you definitely can, if you go back to the keyword planner and you go discover new keywords, rather than starting with a website, you can type in the words that you want here. And that would probably be a good way to do it. So for you, like property management would be a good one. Property management, holiday homes, holiday home management. I don't know, like that might be a good one. And then if we get results, what it will do is it will show you your search terms at the top and then other ideas below that. And if I filter it by average monthly searches, it's going to mess it all up and show me everything. And it's going to rank it by the biggest ones versus, I guess it goes smaller and smaller.
It's combining on that keywords create, right?
You definitely can do that. What I would do, guys, is up the top right corner, click the download option and do a Google Sheet. The reason for that is that it's a bit easier to filter and go through, because if you have 1,000 keywords.
So download that sheet.
Okay.
Look to the top 10.
Yep.
Yes, take the one of the keywords.
Okay. Yep. Perfect. Yep.
Well, just a bit of side and then.
Gotcha. Gotcha. But the reason that I say do it as a Google Sheet, I'll show you guys what we do as a content planner worksheet. I was hoping that it might come up with somebody's here. Perfect. So we have a fantastic spreadsheet, which I'm going to give you guys for free for coming along today. Essentially, it's what we use as an agency to help us plan out not just Google, but all content for our clients. And this helps us in doing content for social media, but Google Ads especially. All of the keywords that we just downloaded, we can put into a spreadsheet here, which again, this looks very complicated, but the reason that we put it all into here is that it's much easier to filter by a topic in here than it is in the Google Ads Planner. I can go in here and I can say, all right, so I want to find everything in relation to our agency. That's everything that says Facebook. And I can just type that in, select all of the words that have Facebook in it, and it will show me all of the different searches that have the word Facebook in it. Much easier to do than it is in the Google Ads platform. Having a spreadsheet, it just makes it easier to navigate and filter those things down and go through them one by one. We'll talk about why this is important when you're structuring campaigns in a second, but what you would generally do for Google search, you create a campaign, and I'm gonna use Ellis as an example. You're doing a Google search campaign in the Sunshine Coast for people interested in sharpening services, mobile sharpening. What you would wanna do is you'd wanna find keywords that are mobile knife sharpening, mobile lawnmower sharpening, whatever would be in relation to that. And you group those together based on different use cases. So an example of this might be, just to use this here, you can see that there's keywords going from highest to lowest average monthly searches. Some of the top ones here are Facebook advertising management. Those two alone, I'd want to target. And I might just set up what we call an ad group, which is the different searches, the keywords, and then write ads just for those searches. I might set up an ad group just for these two searches alone, because those have 9,900 or close to 20,000 average monthly searches just for those two. So I don't need to include much else. And I might not need to include that. If people are searching for Facebook ad management, Facebook advertising management, those are pretty closely matched versus Facebook business support. That's definitely not something I want to target. Facebook video advertising might be a bit vague, or it might be, it's not saying I want ad management, if that makes sense. So you'd be taking these different keywords to group and then write ads specifically for that topic, which is these two keywords. Don't know if that's making sense. Yeah,
So
cool.
why would you bother looking at the rest of it?
That's a good question. What I would normally try to do is I would try to ignore any of them under a certain threshold, because they're so low volume that it might not be worth targeting. Unless they're really like commercial or transactional, hire Facebook ads manager. If it was that, I'd be like, okay, there's an argument that I should probably include that because they're looking for me specifically. So I want to target that. But you probably wouldn't want to go like, it gets really small really fast, right? You get down to 10 average monthly searches a month. The way that I would recommend, and we're going to go through this in a second, guys, on like how to set these up. I probably would include more than less, as long as they're aligned and they speak to the same topic. If they speak to the same, if you can group them together and the ads all speak to the same thing that they're searching, it's okay to include ones that have 10 average monthly searches, because you're going to see over time if that results in any business for you. If people click on it and they sign up, they click on it and they inquire, great. Hey, let's keep it in, even if it is only 10 people a month. But if it doesn't get you anything, then you can always filter it out later. It's that chipping away at the marble block. You can get rid of that piece and continue working on your masterpiece. So I definitely think that the way that you do your keyword research is you go broad, you look for ways you can group things together into topics, and then you can narrow it down further over time. Does that answer your question? Yeah, great, awesome. So going back to Google Ads, because I'm going all over the show here now, we've got our keyword research and we are exporting that into a Google Sheet. What I want you guys to do, if you can, is open up that Google Sheet of the keywords that you have downloaded. And again, we're not going to go through this spreadsheet right now. I'm just basically going to show you guys how this translates into Google Ads shortly. But we're going to open that up and we're going to try to find some ways to group that later on. So you don't need to do anything now. I just want to make sure you've got it open and that we aren't closing it down, because I think you have to open it, otherwise it disappears as a little pop-up. So has everyone gotten their spreadsheet open with keywords? Great. All right. So just to wrap up keyword research, the reason that this is important is we want to find what are people searching in the areas that we want to find business, and what are the most popular searches in relation to our services. And then the hard work is, how do we group those together into relevant types of searches? And that's what we call an ad group. So again, Facebook ad management would be an example. Google ad management would be a second example. You're grouping those together by topic, because then you can write ads that speak to those searches. So that's the keyword planning. What we'll do, guys, is because I've been talking nonstop for about an hour and a bit, we'll take a quick break just so we can use the toilets, grab a coffee, recharge our batteries, and we'll come back and I'll show you how we can then start building out some campaigns. If anybody has any questions as well, happy to work my way around the room and try to help out. All right, great. Pretty much on time. I said 10:30. Yeah, perfect. Okay, great.
Like I'll speak.
Yeah, of course. Hey, Dan. Like Kyle, you need to slow down. Perfect. Open up. Yep, perfect. Awesome.
Let me just want to keep having the views.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. We're going to cover this off. Yeah, we're going to cover this off next, I think. So oftentimes, and I think the hardest thing, Andrew, with Google Ads is the tracking, because Google doesn't make it, unfortunately, super easy to set up those tracking events. It does require a bit of, what would you call it? A bit of jiggery, for lack of a better term. Yeah. Oh, and trust me, it's the bane of my existence, with probably Rose's as well. So a lot of this stuff, you have to define what a purchase is, what an add to cart is. I don't know, on the website, can people book and pay? Is that kind of what a quote unquote purchase would be?
So it ends up down to Stripe.
Oh, okay. Okay, perfect.
But whether or not that is the confusion for it.
Yeah, it could be. Could be, because unfortunately with Google, if you go from one domain to another, sometimes it doesn't have what they call cross-domain tracking set up. So as soon as they leave your website, it breaks the tracking, because it goes, oh, you've left the website. You can set it up though with the same tracking. We call it a Google tag. You could have it on your, it looks like this is using, what is it called? Like Squarespace's appointment scheduler.
Okay.
So you should be able to add the Google tag to this and then just say to Google, track it across both websites, please. So it's a bit of a, again, a bit of jiggery, but it is possible. And we can go through that today, because I think this would be a really good example to show maybe the class and walk people through it.
And that hand's awesome.
Yeah.
Like this page.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to go through tracking, because that's often it's the bane of my existence. I had a client recently, I was telling Chris the other day about this client that I'm working with. She does PTSD and borderline personality therapy. She's spending like $3,500 a month on her Google Ads, which is a lot. Yeah. And suddenly things stopped working. So she reached out to us. Can you help? Can you go through it? I thought I figured it out. Oh, welcome back. Yeah. What's the code? Just going to put this in. But for this client, the conversion tracking, essentially, they were doing it all through Google Analytics. Yep. And Google Analytics has recently changed it so that they're going privacy first, because Europe's made it law that you can't track people without their consent. Yeah. So you know how you get the, I accept your cookies. Yeah. If people don't accept that, or you don't give them the option to accept that, by default, no tracking happens. Yeah. And that's like Google Analytics now going, sweet, we're just going to do this globally for everyone. So that's what was the problem. Like this client's Google Analytics just wasn't tracking web events. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. So we figured that out, but it took us a while. Like, we were like, what is going on? And Google hasn't really made this like super public. They haven't been like, hey guys, this is gonna break unless you do this. They're just, you have to figure it out. And it was a huge headache. But at least we caught it, right? Like it was like a,
It's working better now.
yeah. So we got her cost per inquiry. She was spending $150 per inquiry, and it's down to about $40 an inquiry now, which is good.
By the time you do your hourly rate,
Yeah, I know. But I think she was like, yeah, I don't know how she was making money with that, but she was definitely like, hey, this is getting completely out of control. But yeah, we got it fixed, and now it's definitely a lot better. But sometimes it's just a nightmare, and to try to figure it out, it's like finding a needle in a haystack. You're like, what is wrong?
it's like you can't see.
Yeah. Did it fall apart? No.
How do we plan? Stick along it.
Oh, cool. Okay. So I'm going to go through that actually in just a second, if that's cool.
Oh, right, isn't it? I feel like I'm like a tree. I'm like, yeah. And what we'll hear. Oh. That's sort of top right at the front.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And I'm driving home.
Reason I would have to see
Coast.
in mine, but
The parking camera.
Oh, nice.
but I've always done a reverse. So I'm like, oh Lord, here goes.
Nice. Yeah, it's a beautiful new building. Yeah, I love this room. Like it's so nice. And yeah, this is us headquarters. Yeah. I did a Facebook ads workshop at the Chamber of Commerce. They have like a boardroom there, and it's really nice. But this is, yeah, it's really nice. I think so. Yeah. 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 Lightning fast. Yeah, thanks, Elon. No.
Like most recordings, and it's like that one.
I reserve the right to do many things stupid.
I would miss the columns.
Yeah.
And when you said what I hold and sort of you, but
Oh,
been there, it doesn't let you
really?
It doesn't come up with
list
the not there.
Oh, so you did it here?
Yeah, when it
columns and then
took a few off.
Yep. So it just deleted a few here.
Yeah.
And then
put the lead in the area and then do you
I'm just going to zoom out a bit. Here we go. It should be up here, but I don't know if it's. Yeah, I see what you mean. It's weird.
think like there's some sort of I don't like this shit.
Because I'm doing right out as well.
Yeah.
And
Right in.
I find Google Ads, and the same as Facebook, sometimes a bit buggy. And that's why I try to export stuff and do it in a spreadsheet, because I hate using this. Because sometimes you'll do like hours of work, you get everything together, and then you're like, okay, now add to plan. And then something happens, it's like reload, and then it disappears. And you're like, oh. So it's get into a spreadsheet. Get into a spreadsheet. You've got it there, and at least you can always go back to it in the future. Whereas with this, you'll do all this planning, and it's, would you like to save this? And then you come back into it, and it's not saved, or something's missing. It's just
I did
a,
refresh
And took that out,
so I
so
put it went
Yeah.
through the process again
Yeah.
as well, and it still didn't bring
so weird, eh?
it back.
So yeah, I think the keyword planning is often the hardest part. Building out the campaign, hopefully it won't be as painful, but we'll see how we go.
It's the fun part.
It is for geeks like you and me, but I don't know if it's all of the class yet. We'll just jump into the next, because we're going to start creating some campaigns, I reckon. What a great venue, isn't it?
Good.
Got coffee downstairs, bit of art to check out.
My husband's an electrician.
Oh, nice.
what?
Yeah, it is, man.
How do
Yeah,
they even, it must come in pieces.
it has to, eh?
Yeah,
No.
I'm not changing that one.
Yeah.
That would just be how many electricians. So take it for the lab.
Yeah, at least 10.
Depends
Yeah.
how long you're on.
No, but it's great to see like taxpayers' money going to good use. It's pretty cool.
You know how you search that?
Oh yeah, so I'm in Google Sheets. Oh, you're in Google Sheets, yeah. So what you have to do is you have to apply a filter. So what I normally do is I delete the top two like rows, because that's just more the dates and the name of the plan, and then apply a filter to the whole lot. So if you select everything, yep, I'll just, sometimes it's easier to just show. So if I go like this, oops, I've buggered it up, haven't I? There we are. And then I apply the filter, which is not in the toolbar there, but you can go data, oops, data, and then create a filter. Oh God, sorry, mate. Why is the filter not working for me? Yeah, I'll let you drive again. Yeah, create a filter. And then, yep, there you go. So now it's applied filters. And if you go into the keyword and click the filter, you should be able to filter by, so on the keyword column A, click, you should be able to filter now by like the different words. So what I normally do is I'll try to find like similar topics. So for you, it might be, yeah, so I'll clear first. So just because right now it's selecting everything. So you see how it says select all, and then next to it says clear. Yep, I hit clear, and then I'll type in whatever word it is that I want to target. So it might be like agent or something like that would be, yeah, perfect. And then select all. So it's showing you that there's four keywords that are in there. So if you click select all, it'll select all of the keywords that have real estate agent in there, and click OK. Then that will show you real estate agent, different combinations of real estate agent searches. Yeah, I'm surprised that like realtor even is like a topic as well.
Oh,
Yeah?
yeah, it's really good with the refined keywords.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
I believe that.
Yep.
Leave that bar and then click on folder.
Yeah.
Then you can see if you scroll up.
Oh, mine's not letting me scroll up. Just show me that. Weird, eh?
You can refine keywords and I select columns, modify columns, and then I can see the rest of them.
Oh, weird.
But yours won't show if you haven't taken any off.
Yeah. Okay.
Take one off, then put it. That was really weird.
So strange.
Not refine keys that one keyword.
I took a few columns off display view.
Yeah. Gotcha.
It was just hiding inside that.
Now that we're all keyword researcher veterans, what we're going to do is we're going to apply this to some use of building out a campaign. And if you are feeling a little bit lost, it's okay. Don't panic, because I'm showing you this because this is a good thing to do regardless of whether you need to use it for your Google ads, if I'm honest. When you're building new Google ad campaigns, they've got so much AI now that helps with the setup process that you almost, Google will say you don't need to do keyword research, but it's still a good thing to do because you can now see the power of this for anything that you do digital marketing wise. You're able to come into the back end here and be able to go, tell me what people are searching in relation to in this area. This can help you with SEO. This can help you with social media strategy. This can help you with anything you're doing online because it helps you tell you what people are searching in an area near you. So great tool to use regardless of whether you need to use it or not. What we're going to do today is we're going to go through and we're going to start setting up a campaign. And I'm going to get us, just because we've been doing keyword research, I'm going to get us to start with a search campaign. And then we're going to graduate to Performance Max, which is basically like a Google search campaign, plus images, plus videos, and a bit more targeting. We're going to go through this together step by following along on the big, beautiful screen. And we're going to start by, hopefully you guys can see this, and that I'm finding out that I can see things that other people can't. So if you don't see things, let me know. But up the top left-hand corner, there should be, I'm hoping, a beautiful create button.
I just asked, really do any of those words will be locked?
As long as you have it open in another tab or an Excel, that's fine. We're going to come back to it to be able to select what keywords we want to use for our search campaign. So I know that Lee's got his open on a spreadsheet. So just the reason I wanted you to open it is so that we could reference it when we're building out the campaign and we can choose what keywords we want to include in our search campaign. So what I'll do, guys, is I'm going to start building out a campaign. Follow along. Remember, I'm recording the screen, so we'll be able to go through this later if I'm moving too quickly. I just want to make sure that we're getting through this and getting things set up. So the first thing that Google will do when we set up a new campaign is it wants to know, what do you want? What's your objective as a business? And it can be a range of different things. But the 7 ones that it's going to recommend are things like sales, leads, traffic. If you have an app, you can promote your app on the Play Store, brand awareness, or people visiting your store in person. So these are the main objectives that people will choose. Again, it's very similar to Facebook ads. They'll ask you, what's your objective? And the reason for this is that the platforms are getting so smart that they will optimize your campaigns based off what you're saying you want. If you want sales, it's not going to just send you traffic. It's going to try to get people who are interested in buying your products, buying your service. So you might see a higher cost per click. You might see less impressions, but that's because Google's going, I'm going to focus on these people who I think, based off their web history and their browsing data, that they are interested in booking a massage or interested in your service in general. So sales, obviously, if you have an online store, if you have an online booking system, sales would be what I would focus on. If you're looking for inquiries, you're looking for people to reach out, to talk to you about your service, for people like us, real estate agents, marketers, leads would probably be the way to go, unless you have packages people can sign up to. A website traffic's for those who just don't have anything on their website, and you're going, look, just to start with, I just want to get traffic to my website, and let's see how we go. So I'm going to focus on leads, but follow along and pick the one that's right for you. Leads and sales are very similar, to be honest. They'll let you click on it, and what it will do is it will pop up and say, all right, so how are we tracking that? So is everyone at this stage? Everyone's up? I reckon probably traffic to start with, yeah. We could do leads, actually, now that I think about it, Juanita, just because I want to talk about this next step as well. So this is why I was talking about Google Analytics so much, because what Google is going to say is, okay, so you've said that you want leads. Is everyone up to this okay?
Yeah, I've got a different bottom part.
Oh, okay.
Select a campaign type, not use these verticals.
Okay, yeah. And which type did you select? Was it traffic or leads? Okay,
And I've got you.
cool. Perfect. Yeah. So you're a step ahead, which is great. Yeah, perfect. So what it's going to try to do, guys, is it's going to say, look, in order to get you the best result, we need to know, how do we track leads? How do we capture those? And how do we say that we've gotten you a lead? For example, on this demo account, I'm saying submit a lead form. That would be on the website, and it's saying, there's an issue here. We can't track that. There's a problem, and you need to fix that. So it's going to tell you that if you want leads, you need to have somewhere on your website that it can say, this is how we're capturing leads, and that needs to be sending events back into Google Ads so that it can go, cool, we spent $10, we got you a lead, but it's cost you $10 per lead, and we'll continue to try to get you more. So you want to have these set up, and it is unfortunately a bit technical, which is why Google Analytics can be an easy way to set that up. Google Analytics, you can set up those events and say, if somebody clicks my phone number, that's a lead. If they send an email, that's a lead. If they fill out my contact form, that's a lead. And you're giving that to Google Ads through your analytics. This is probably the most complicated and technical part. So happy to go through this after the session and try to help out. Like, what I'm offering for everyone is half-hour free session afterwards. We can go through one-on-one and try to figure out this stuff, because this stuff is the biggest pain in the butt, but any other questions that you guys have as well. So the reason I'm explaining this is that if you do have Google Analytics and it's already configured and everything's working 100%, then it might suggest some things. If not, it's going to say, hey, we need to link this up, which it sounds like Juanita, you're seeing. If it is linked up and it's having issues, it's going to show you. And if it's giving you nothing, then maybe it's a good sign. I don't know. We'll find out in a second. So these are, like, if you do website traffic, it still might say, you need to fix this because there's going to be challenges across the board. You can see it's still saying that this needs to be fixed. So conversion goals are events on your website, and there's a bit of configuring to get that going, but we'll talk about that a bit more later. So if you can, click continue. You can.
Well, add a bulb.
I'd say click continue, and we'll cover off conversions after we set this up. So what you should be able to see, guys, is select a campaign type. Is it not letting you? Maybe click traffic and see if that's okay as a campaign objective. When we're setting up a new campaign, there's a few different types that we're able to do. What I said to you guys before is that traditionally you'd set up multiple different campaigns and you'd have to manage those separately. And it's a bit of a pain in the butt. Performance Max is now a combination of all the above. So this is why Performance Max is really powerful, because you don't want to have, okay, I need a video ad campaign, I need a display ad campaign, and a shopping campaign. It's just too much. So having Performance Max is great. And we're going to set that up later, but we're going to focus on search to begin with. So search is pretty simple. It's Google search. And if we click on that, it should tell us, okay, so which ways would you like to reach your goals? And hopefully you guys are seeing this as well. For me, I'm going to say website visits. I'm going to say phone calls. I'm going to say lead form submissions. And it's going to ask, okay, great. So what's your website for a start? I need to know, if we're tracking website visits, what is the website you're wanting to send people to? So I'm just going to put in Social Geeks. For phone calls, I want to put in the number that I'd like to appear or for people to call. So if people are interested in working with us, I can put in my mobile number here.
How does it track that?
So it's a good question. This will pop up on the Google ad as a little phone number below the Google ad on Google search. And then as well, they actually have a way to track it on your website. So if they see people click on websites, you have a number and it's hyperlinked. And if you click on that, then it pops up on your phone. They can track that, as well as any buttons that are also set up that way. So there's a few different ways to do it.
If you don't have your phone number on your website, it won't come up.
It will come up on the ad. So when people are searching, I don't know if you've seen it on Google, I'll be able to show you in the next step. But
Like as an option, like right into the come up as a phone number on my Google ad.
oh, really? Okay. Yeah, it should allow you to do this. It could be something that we need to configure together. Sometimes Google's just really fickle. I find the same with Facebook ads. There's sometimes just bugs in here and you're like, why won't you let me do this? And then you find out that there's either the account hasn't been verified or something along those lines. So we'll have a look at yours in just a second. So I put in my website, I put in the phone number, and I said also, because I want leads, I'm going to also say lead form submissions. I'm going to click continue. If you guys, has anybody else had any issues or everyone follow? Since I click continue, it's now saying, great, you're all good to go. What's your campaign name? And I'm just going to say search Social Geeks, or what I normally put in here, guys, is I'll put in what is the campaign type. So is it search? Is it Performance Max? And a brief little explanation of what I'm looking for. So if this was going to be for knife sharpening, I'd put in knife sharpening services, or I'd put in local vendor outreach. I put something in there that I know exactly what that campaign is going to be targeting and what it's for. So in here, I'll just put Facebook. In fact, I'll put Google Ads. Google Ads is more relevant. Google Ads Management as a service. And that way I know that's what I'm targeting for this Google search, and it's very clear. Now, you can actually save drafts for campaigns. So what it's prompting me to do is say, hey, do you want to create a new one, or do you want to use any of these drafts? I don't have any each year, so that's fine. You start a new campaign, and that's going to kick off the setup for a Google search campaign. So is everyone able to get this far? Perfect, you're there? Yep, awesome.
What do you empty? What was it? The wire?
I chose leads as the objective. And leads could be inquiries, could be forms being filled out, and a whole bunch more. So we'll go through those a bit more. Now, with any Google Ads campaign, it's going to ask you a few different things. What are we bidding on? So what is the thing that we're wanting to get in here? And they've gotten rid of a lot of different things, but there's different ways that you can ask it to spend your money. You could say, I want you to get me conversions. And if it's leads, it's going to be phone calls, it's going to be contact forms on your website. Whatever we've said to it is a quote unquote lead into the business. And we're wanting Google to focus on that as the objective. So the bidding strategy doesn't really matter too much, but most people in our situation will be focusing on conversions. That would be people booking in for a massage, booking in for knife sharpening, or at least inquiring, right? Clicking to call, reaching out on a contact form. You can change this to say, for example, sometimes with a new business, when you're first starting out, Google is using a lot of machine learning and AI in the background to try to optimize campaigns for whatever you're telling it to optimize for. If it's got no data, it's never gotten a conversion through your website, it might struggle to get you conversions because I don't know what to do. So you might find that if you launch a campaign and it's just not working, like there's no budget being spent, you're getting no impressions, no clicks, you might want to start by just going up to other options and start with clicks, because at least you're getting traffic to your website and building up conversions so Google can figure out what a conversion looks like. I know this might sound confusing, but clicks is often the easiest way for Google to understand what you want, because it's, oh, they want clicks? Cool, I'll send them clicks. Conversions might be a bit tricky if it's got no data from your website and it can't figure out what it is or what would be a conversion for your campaign.
This all has to go all that other stuff.
Yep. I would say so. Yep. Yep. And then we just want to figure out that those are working. And that's the fun part. So conversions would be fine. Clicks also would be fine. It's really oftentimes to start, if you start with clicks, it's not a bad approach. Once you start getting conversions and you've got a bit data coming in, then you can go, all right, you know what? I can change the strategy to optimize for conversions. Now that I know that there's inquiries coming in, the phone's ringing, there's people booking, great, I can swap this over. So a good place to start could be to start it with clicks. Google will always try to get you to start with conversions just because that's now how it's optimizing for its campaign. So it'll always push you to do conversions. If you select purchases as your objective, it's not even going to let you select clicks anymore. They're phasing it out. It will try to put conversions, but I would say for you, Andrew, start with clicks, let it run for a month. And if you're seeing people starting to inquire and you're starting to see those events happening, you can always swap it in the future. All right, so I'm going to start with clicks just to do that. Now, this is probably more for, again, e-commerce, but some clients will want to just only go for new customers. So they'll say, you know what, don't bid for existing customers, but you have to upload your customer list. So we're not going to focus on this, guys, but just to explain what this is, you can upload a CSV file of your customers and say, don't target them. So do not advertise to these people. It's not a bad thing for some businesses, but most people are happy to get customers back again. So not a bad thing to have those people there. So I'm going to leave that unticked. I'm choosing clicks. I'm going to leave this blank. In the future, when you get a bit of data in, you can always start to say to Google, look, I want you to set a target or I want you to set a maximum cost for different things. I find that if you do tick that prematurely, sometimes it just won't spend your money. And you'll see 0 impressions, 0 clicks, and you're like, what's going on? And it's because you said, I want clicks for 2 cents or whatever. And Google's going to go, that's not going to happen. Sorry, Kyle. And it just won't spend your money. So the same happens with cost per conversion. I see a lot of clients will go, okay, I want to get people for under $50. So they'll put that in as the limit. And then Google goes, okay, I'm just not going to spend your money because I don't think I can get you that. So those, again, I would leave, just like the marble analogy, leave everything broad and you can always chip away at it. Once you start getting data in, you can always narrow things down. So clicks, blank, blank, and we can move on to the next section. All right, so if you guys are with me now, this is what Andrew was asking about in terms of location targeting. He asked, how do I target people who are interested in massages in Noosa, even if they're not in Noosa? So this is where we can set that up. Before I go into the locations though, I just want to cover off these networks here. What I normally do for search campaigns is I leave in search partners because that's recommended. And search partners are essentially people who've embedded in a search function into their website or into their, it might be a marketplace or whatever. And then that's doing a Google search. So it's pulling data from their network. That's fine because wherever they're searching, if they're searching what we want them to search, we want to target them, right? So totally happy to leave that in. Display network, however, I take it out. The reason I take this one out, guys, is that it makes the most god-awful ads for you. And the display ads I was talking about being the billboards of the internet, it creates text versions of your search ads and creates them into billboards. And they are so ugly and so bad, and I don't think that they work at all. But Google obviously wants to spend your money, so it's going to say, hey, include this, and we'll create some really ugly ads for you. We take these out because at the end of the day, it just doesn't work. And we can do that with the Performance Max campaign, which we're going to set up as well. So I take that out, and then we know Performance Max will cover that as well. Any questions on that, guys? No? Great. So next one here is the location. I like to always go in and do...
Use this like extension of one. Just we use it.
I normally leave that out. So I untick that and I leave that because again, Performance Max will take care of this. It'll do a 10 times better job than what this will do. So the location settings, this is where we can choose really granular where we want to target. I normally recommend to clients to go into enter another location, go to advanced search, and then you can choose to say by postcode, by address, whatever. and you can even have a radius around that. So if we wanted to, we could say, I want to target people 20-kilometer radius around the Caloundra library. And I'd be able to type in the address for the Caloundra library. Hopefully it works. So I say Caloundra library. There you go. So library plus has come up. I say include. What that will do is give me a 20-kilometer radius, and we're only targeting people in this location. So I'm going to save that. And that means that is basically the target location for our campaign. So for you guys, yeah, you might want to put in a radius around the Sunshine Coast. I find radius is a bit easier rather than trying to do by postcode, because as you can see with what Lee's seeing, guys, the Sunshine Coast is this long coastal strip. You're like, I might want to include people out in Yamundi or out in Mullaney or whatever else. So it just, for whatever reason it is, you have to go through each and every one individually. So I find doing a radius so much easier than trying to do it postcode by postcode.
Or a radius around the shaded area.
Yeah, so you can layer things on top, guys. I'll just show you really quickly. There's no harm in having multiple layers. I have some clients where it's like, you've got 60 different places on this and some overlap. So if we wanted to do Sunshine Coast, and I was going to say include this as well, you can see that I've got a radius as well as a map in there, and they're overlapping. So that means that I've got this area in the blue bubble as well as this strip up the coast included in that radius. What I will often do is I'll drop multiple pins. So I have radiuses going up in a certain area. Some people will say, I only want to target Caboolture, south or the Sunshine Coast, and then North Brisbane. And you're literally having to find a place to drop your pin as an address and then go, all right, 6-kilometer radius around here, and you make up your map this way. It's much easier to do it, I find, doing it this way than it is to try to find the arbitrary borders that Google seems to target. Because if we go Yamundi, what you'll see is that it'll include Yamundi, but then what about, I don't know how to say this, Riverdale? So it's a bit annoying because it's like, what about all these guys in between? I want to target all of those. So it'd probably be easier for me to go radius, Yamundi, and include that. Yeah, exactly. And the great thing is you can always go in and edit these as well. And if I go, okay, that's too big, I'll do 10-mile radius. Yep, that's better. Cool, perfect, done. So you can tinker around with it. The lovely thing about Google Ads is there's a lot of tinkering involved, which is always fun, but you will get there eventually. So this is how I would do it for you guys, is I'd probably go, okay, what are the suburbs that we get most of our inquiries in, and just create a bit of a service map that you can then go through. Is that clear, guys? It looks like everyone's tinkering. So. Exactly. What I've done is I've built out a little bit of a map of areas that I want to target. And in the location options, this is something that when I do audits of like big agencies accounts that are being managed for other clients, I'm surprised how many times I come in here and they haven't toggled this option. If you don't open this up, by default, it's going to allow anybody who's interested in the Sunshine Coast, if they search Google Ads Sunshine Coast, my ads will pop up, even if they're in New York, even if they're in Timbuktu. And that's just a waste of money if you're not targeting those folks. So often the default, I think, for most businesses is to say they have to be present in that target area. Unless you are a masseuse and you do massage services for people who are here on holiday, you would probably be the rare exception where I'd say keep it as the present in that location.
Probably do that as a specific campaign.
You could. Yeah, you absolutely could. Absolutely.
Maybe do a holiday period or something.
Exactly. Yeah, that's very smart, Andrew. So campaigns, you can set up multiple campaigns. And again, you could have an objective for people on holiday. You could have people who are like present and local in the area. So definitely, I think it would probably be worth trying both and having one for present, interested in the area, another one where it's like you have to be in Noosa, because those would probably be the reoccurring customers.
They can figure out whether or not they're booking when they get up here.
Yeah, exactly. And I would say, at least from my personal standpoint, that most people would probably book when they're here. Yeah. There might be the occasional few who are super organized and they're like, well, I'm on holiday, I want to have it all regimented. But I imagine most people are they're like, hey, I'm going to go with the flow. I don't need to be doing anything. So they get up here, they call around, and that's when they might book. But you never know. This is why you experiment and try different options and then see what works best. So I'm going far too in the weeds here, but I'm hoping this is helpful, guys. Present, that would generally be for most businesses. So include people only in those locations. You don't want people in other cities who are just searching to see, oh, I wonder what other real estate agents are doing. You want to get all those people filtered out. The only thing that I find frustrating is if people travel through these areas, they also can be included. So yeah, yeah. I think for you, this is how I would probably approach it, is I would have a search campaign for vendors or people who would want you to manage their properties. And then you'd have another campaign that you would go present or interested in for people who are wanting to book your holiday homes. All right, so the rest of this, guys, is not super important. I'm not going to go through huge detail, but languages, that's hopefully pretty obvious. We want to do English unless you have alternatives. The EU are like super hardcore on data. So they are leading the charge on data privacy, and Google is very much scared of the European Union. So they are, you'll see it across everything. Political ads, privacy first, like Google's really leaning into what EU is putting down. So they're just asking, do you do any ads for political purposes? Obviously, hopefully no. And then I did talk about this before in terms of segments. I'd say leave this broad to start with, because again, you don't know what's going to emerge from your block of marble. You don't want to narrow it down too much to start with. But if you did want to narrow things down, audience segments can be fantastic for really broad audiences that you're targeting. And this is where you can see what people have recently searched, what they're interested in. And we're going to focus more on performance max for this. Search, I think, just leave it to what they're searching. But this is where you can go through and you can say, all right, I want to narrow my audience down, just like you would with Facebook, by age, demographics, interests, things they've searched for, or how they've interacted with your business. Have they been to your website? Have they purchased something from your website, and so forth? So this is more advanced stuff that we're not going to do for this one, but this is where you can go in and you can choose to see, all right, I want to, for you, home ownership would be a really big one, but obviously it's only as good as the data. So Google might not know that there are homeowners or not, but it's still something worth mentioning while we're in here. For Performance Max, we'll definitely lean into this a lot more. While we're on this topic, guys, the most valuable and coolest thing I can point out is the in-market audiences, which is basically telling us people who have recently searched for things that would indicate they're in the market to buy something, or they're in the market to do something. So in market, I'm going to see if I can find like massage, because I think that might be a good one to show Andrew, and it's a good example. So if I search massage in here, it's going to show me all the different things that you can select as an audience, and it will show you things. This is where Google really shines compared to Facebook ads, because you can target people who have recently searched for spas or beauty services, and that's based off Google searches. That's based off products that they've bought, because Google's got all that analytics from the Google Analytics from people's websites. It's also from YouTube searches if they're looking up reviews or they're looking up things on YouTube. All of that's distilled down, and it's an audience that you can target. So for Ellis, for Andrew, your businesses would be perfect if you can find things in here that you can say, all right, in the market for, unfortunately, it's not really giving us too much for massages as much as I thought, but this would be fantastic for us to see people who are in the market for specific things, and you can target those. I'm going to look at real estate just because I'm curious. So you can see that they're in the market for real estate, and this would indicate people who have recently expressed interest in purchasing or renting residential or commercial real estate. And that's based off recent Google searches, that's based off recent YouTube searches, and that's based off, yeah, basically those two as far as I can see here. So you can actually go and select those if you wanted to, just to filter down your audience a bit more and be like, okay, I'm going to target people who have recently searched to purchase a property and are searching for these keywords, just to give you a little bit more.
So we'll actually exclude others. It is narrowing it.
It does narrow it
So
down.
you want that to be pretty specific.
If you have 3.3 million searches on average per month, you probably do want to tailor it in and narrow it down, but it doesn't hurt to start broad, guys, and then add these things in over time. So again, marketing is all about testing different things out. Start broad and then go, you know what, I'm going to test and see if I add this in for a month, does it make a noticeable difference? And if it does, fantastic, leave it in. If it doesn't, take it out. So it's those types of changes that you can make. To answer your question though, Andrew, you can choose in the settings below to either target them or say, look, this is just say, I want people like this. It doesn't have to be that way. So don't filter it down. It's just helping it in determining who that person is a bit more. So this can be really powerful. I think it's much better for Performance Max, where you're letting AI choose where to place your ads. Whereas search, if you're picking good keywords, that should do most of the heavy lifting for you. This stuff is just giving you a little bit of extra targeting and a bit more oomph. If you're finding that you're like, hey, I'm getting a lot of clicks, I'm not really getting a lot of traction, this can be a really great way to narrow things down. So hopefully that makes sense and that helps a bit. I love this stuff.
So should we make that blank?
I think leave it blank for now. Yeah. So that's pretty much it from the campaign settings, guys. There's other
Targeting and website.
So targeting and observation. So targeting is I only want to target people who have recently expressed interest in real estate. Observation is find people similar to this. Like I want it to be broad and it's giving it a bit of guidance, but it's not saying I only want those people. I'm happy to take other people as well, but use this segment as a bit of like a bit of a guide. So that's the difference there. It's Facebook where you're saying they're interested in this and you can create, I don't know if you guys know what lookalike audiences are. Yeah, it's like that. Now, there's a lot more that we can do. I'm not going to go into huge depth here, but you can schedule your ads. You can say, all right, I want my ads to run 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, if those are the hours that you are operating in, and that's the only time you want people to see you. I normally leave all of this blank, and then after a few months of running ads, then I can go in and go, all right, it looks like Mondays, 9 a.m. are actually a really popular time. I'm going to narrow that down and do that. Leave all of this as default, because what it will do is just run your ads. There's nothing too crazy there in terms of ad scheduling, but that's where you can go in and start changing those things in the future, is in the campaign settings. Let's click next if you guys can follow along. This is a very new feature, but AI is now coming into search. I highly recommend for small businesses who don't want to come in and twiddle with bloody keywords and bidding and all that stuff, switch it on, because at the end of the day, what AI will do is help you with all of the tinkering of going, okay, I'm going to spend a bit more on this keyword because it seems to be getting me conversions. I'm going to spend a bit less on these. It helps with doing a bit of the account work for you. So switching that on can be great. It also will look at your website and then customize some of your ads based on the content on your website. So it can customize the headlines, it can customize some of the descriptions. So it definitely does help in terms of just making your ads a bit more varied and things like that. So AI is great. I love AI. I think it's definitely great. Really good thing to switch on. Has everyone seen that's coming up for everyone? Cool. Awesome.
On a different screen.
Oh, weird.
Keyword and asset.
Okay, cool. Yep. So they are testing the assets generator. I think you're on the next step. That's not a problem, Ellis. We'll go through this later. This might be something you can switch on at the very end as well. And just while we're on this topic, some brands don't want to bid on their own name because you're a bit of a waste of money because people are searching for me anyways. So you can exclude your own brand. And as we talked about before, you can exclude competitors. You can exclude other people on here. If you want to say, if people are searching for Ray White, don't bid on that. You know what I mean? Don't put my campaigns in front of those types of people, if that makes sense. So you can say new brand list.
Yeah, grass would be to be on top of that.
Exactly. A lot of my clients, their brand should pop up if people search for it. So you don't want to waste money for searches for their own brand name. So you add that into this exclusion list, and then that's it. So it seems that Ellis is already on the next stage. This, guys, is where Google's AI kicks in and really can help us out. It's going to help us in generating our headlines and our descriptions using AI. And all we have to do, hopefully, is add in our URL to say, here's my website. Is this what everyone else is seeing? Because I know that Google is being a bit experimental at the moment. All right, great. So Google AI isn't able to see my website, which is a bit concerning, but same for you. So it might be that, unfortunately, Google's just being getting a bit blocked. Oh, really? Put dub in, I'm just seeing if that works.
I'm trying to put the S because my heart.
Oh, okay. think Google would be able to figure it out though, huh? Like, all right. So is anybody else able to generate theirs? Everyone's, no? Okay. If you can generate it, I've got another domain I might try here. Let's see if that works. No, doesn't like me. If you can, what it will do is it should pop up with a bit of a AI like generation content, and it should ask you like, hey, what do you think about this? Or I think on your screen, so it's basically saying what makes you unique. So it's asking more content, and then if you've used ChatGPT or AI, it's basically going to generate a whole bunch of headlines and descriptions for your business. If you don't get that, you're going to get something like this, which is on the next page. I'm just going to see if I can maximize this out. So it's now taken us to the section where, who do we want to target? What are the keywords that we want to target? Because Google is getting better and smarter, it's going to suggest a whole bunch of keywords that it thinks you could target for the campaign. You can see here that it's suggesting like 30 keywords. It's suggesting a lot of keywords here, and it's all different types of stuff. Now, this might be okay, and you might be able to succeed in doing that, but my thoughts on this is that you probably want to narrow it down a lot more so that you're only targeting keywords that are within the same grouping. So like digital marketing management would probably be one that I would go, I only need like those 2 keywords and I know that's going to work. So this is where that keyword planner comes back into play, where instead of going, yep, Google, I'll just trust you and I'm going to chuck in 30 different searches and I'm going to target all of those with one ad, I might want to break that down into 1 or 2 keywords or 5 keywords, or it depends on your business and it depends on the service, but you can select those from the keyword research that you've done. And for me, I'm going to say, look, these 2 keywords are going to drive potentially 20,000 average monthly searches. And it's very specific to Facebook ad management, Facebook advertising management. That is like the creme de la creme of keywords for my agency, because it is, you could not get more focused on my service than that. That's a very transactional keyword. So instead of going and trying to do 50 different keywords, I might just go, you know what, Google, thanks, but no thanks. I'm just going to use those 2. And that is because I know I've done my research. There's 20,000 people searching for this, and those are the people that I want to book in with me, and I want them to speak with me. So for Ellis, it might be knife sharpening near me, mobile knife sharpening. Those might be the keywords that we want to target as an example. For Rose, it might be WordPress help, WordPress support, WordPress management, like
Social posting.
social post. Yeah, exactly. But you'd probably want to keep those keywords in the same vein. I wouldn't recommend doing Facebook ad management, Google ad management, web design, social media support. Like, it's just too broad. What you'd want to do is you'd want to keep it specific to one thing, because the thing is, guys, you can create multiple ad groups for each of the different services you provide. So I'm just going to focus on Facebook ads management, because that again, if I get 100 people a week coming through and 10 of those book in for a meeting with me, fantastic. That's all I want. I don't need to target everybody under the sun looking for digital advertising or digital marketing. So hopefully that makes sense. You narrow it down. I could always add in more. If you want to have 20 in there, you can, but just try not to make it too all over the show. Try to make it really focused on one topic.
Then this spray is different because yours did your
Yes, I think so.
that's a generation. Generate.
Gotcha. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so we did it generate.
And then go generate.
Yeah, yeah. So what it's doing is it's using AI to scan your website, figure out your services, and then suggest keywords, suggest all of that stuff. Whereas mine seemed to do that anyways, to be fair. So I don't know what it was bloody saying, but it's trying to get smarter with, you know how I said you don't really need to do keyword research anymore because it just basically tells you what it thinks is best for you. I still like doing it because I want to know, is AI just suggesting me a whole bunch of nonsense words, or are there actually like good searches based off that word? So I'm still maybe a bit distrusting. I want to see under the hood and look at how many people are searching these terms and let me choose instead of AI telling me what I should do. So
Here in there that these marks that
yeah, you definitely can. Yep.
you've got the girls and top and
Maybe that's true of all the relevant.
Yep. Yeah, you can chuck anything you want in here. The thing is that the reason you do the keyword research is to see, are there actually people searching that? Or is it just, oh, that would be good. So you can check those in there. When you start running campaigns, guys, you want to check your campaigns and look at the keywords, because it will tell you how many searches have you gotten, or sorry, impressions. So it'll be like, how many times has that keyword, your ad popped up for that keyword? and then how many clicks you've gotten with it. And then you should be able to see how many conversions you got. And all Google Ads is basically going, okay, are the keywords that I'm targeting working? If not, take it out. And then there'll also be a section where you can see what people are searching in relation to your campaigns, and you can add new ones in as well. So it's constantly a bit of a juggling act to go take this out, put this in, and you're working on that. And that's a large part of Google Ads. It's just, unfortunately, just checking keywords and seeing what works and taking things out that don't work. So is everyone okay on that step? I know this is moving a bit fast now, but I'm hoping that we can get this all going for you. So I'm just going to focus on this. Remember that you can always add in additional keywords to this one, or you can create another ad group in this campaign. So right now I'm searching, I said Google Ads Management, I realized, and I'm putting in Facebook advertising keywords. So realistically, this should probably be Google, but you get the gist. This is just a dummy account. So I'm putting in Google, and then I can always create an additional ad group if I wanted to do Google, whatever else would be there. The AI stuff here, I've said turn on, and this is already what it's going to do is AI is going to go, hey, there's actually some additional keywords here that we think could be included. So it's going to help manage your account and just give it a little bit of a tweak so that you don't have to be in there every day or every week trying to tweak things yourself. So it's good for small business who don't want to be constantly actively managing their account. AI is great for that. You can switch it off if you want like complete control and you want to be managing that yourself. I think for us, switch it on. It does, I think, make a big difference, and it's very good. If you're able to follow along, we're going to scroll down to the next section, and this is where you can build out your campaigns. The good thing about AI is it has filled it out. If you're seeing like I'm seeing, it's filled out some of the headlines for you. And it gives you a little example of what that's going to look like here. What they suggest is trying to use the same keywords in your titles or in your headlines as what you're targeting. For example, it's already gone through and started filling out some of these, but what I would say here is like Google Ads Management Service, and see if I can fit that in, and it works. And that would be an example of a headline that Google will use if somebody's searching for Google Ad Management. It'll pop up in there, and you can see that it's giving me an example of what our ad would look like. Now, what Google asks us to do, again, this has changed a lot over the years, but it's saying, give us up to 15 variations of headlines that you think would be good. I don't know what just happened, but just loading. So it's going to ask for up to 15 different headlines, and it's going to use its system to select the top 2 that it thinks would work best for that search. So it's giving it a bit of a broad stroke of what those could possibly be. And then it's going to use its system to place those in front of people for those searches and use whichever combination of those 15 it thinks are best. You can lock them into place. So if you have one thing that you always want to pop up, let's say it's Google Ads Management is the example. If I want that to always be at the top of my ad, I can lock that into place by clicking the pin and saying, I want that to always show up in place 1. In headline, and everything else you can change to, I want that to always be in position 1. That could be your brand name, that could be like an offer, that could be something, but that's always going to show up in that first spot. And you can change it so it's what's the last spot, it's the newest spot, whatever. But you can choose, that if you have something that you're like, this has to be my ad, it's really important, it's a great offer, and I don't want all this other nonsense to be in there, you choose. You don't have to have 15 options, guys, but Google does recommend the more you give it, the better the ads will perform. It's just Google's recommendations. I'll give Google score at the top here in terms of how good you go. So the more options, the higher your ad strength is going to be. And right now, I'm on core because I've got bugger all in here, but you can see that there's sections to add your headlines. So that's like property management, Sunshine Coast, or holiday rental, Sunshine Coast. Best real estate agent, Sunshine Coast, as the headline. And you're trying to include the keywords that people are searching just to match that up and make sure that those work together. So those headlines, you guys are already fiercely typing through, which is great. You guys should get those. The descriptions are what show up underneath online search. So right now, ours is our put your business first, blah, blah, blah. That's AR generated, so it's not very good. I like to change that. Where you can see the notes are already created. You have up to 4 variations of that. And again, Google will only take one of those at a time, I believe. So it's just giving it a bit of variety. And then AI will swap those in and out to try to generate the best ads, getting the best results. So I hope that everyone understands headlines and descriptions. I think those are pretty straightforward. There's also other things you can add to your Google Ads. And this is something that I showed before with the site links. You agree? Oh, really? So oftentimes with Google search campaigns, whenever I'm doing an audit for a client, a lot of the time their ads are just not, they just haven't spent the time in really fleshing out their ads. For worse, the person they're paying to do it hasn't spent the time in fleshing it all out. What I recommend is trying to get your ad chunk up to excellent. And that means that you've done all the different combination of headlines, all the different descriptions, and you've added in these extra things that is popping to the wall, which are basically like assets that you can add in. Site links are basically like contact us or book an appointment. It's those kind of extensions that show up at the bottom, which you can click on as well for additional pages. Definitely worth doing because site links, they show that if you have site links on your ad, you get up to 33% more clicks. So it just pushes your competitors down a bit and makes your ad a bit bigger. You can put in things like this: design services, writing email hosting, contact us, watch video podcasts about us. All of these are great options. All of these, sometimes they are generated because you put in your website. Google will suggest, hey, how are we adding the contact page? How are we adding our route page? So you should be able to see this at the very bottom. Looks like read your flag. It's got all of them in there. Are you seeing site links as well? Or
So it's generated.
perfect. Okay, great. So definitely site links are worth adding. The last thing I'll mention is I think all of these guys, it can take a bit of time to craft the right ad, but what we're showing you is how to set up the ads in order, right? At the very bottom, there's more asset types that you can put in here. One of the best ones, because we're all, I think, exclusively service-based businesses, you can put add call, just like thank you, and you can add in your phone number here, and that pops up at the very bottom of the ad. And the thing about this is you can choose to have it switched off at times if you want to take calls. You don't want to be 2 calls away. So if you put it in longer, you can say, yep, I want you to show the number at the bottom of the ad if somebody's searching. But I only want it to be Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. Otherwise, you're driving crazy, calling 3%. So this is what we normally need for clients who can take calls. So who do you take calls? We're jumping in 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. We're not 8 to 6, so we're happy. We click save, and then that's going to pop up on the ads in that scheduled time. Great for all of us, I think, that are willing to take phone calls. We call that number in there, and that will try. Not just people who click it, but people who actually get connected and figure out it. So they know you've spoken for 30 seconds or 60 seconds, so have done that. So that's a really good one for us to ever stoked to have a phone number in there as well. Everything else, I'm not going to go through in great detail, but there's things like structured snippets. So this might be little things like highlighting key information about massage. So it might be like available in 1 hour or servicing Sunshine Coast, female owned, whatever it is that you want to put in there. You can add all these details to give it a bit more context to that order. So they've got 2 different classifications now where you can see that if you are a masseuse, a massage, you might put in destination, you might put in new heads, you might put in clown brow, you might put in well brows, and it just adds a little bit more context to the bottom of the ad for people to see. So all of these are worth exploring. I'm not going to go through each and every one, but they're really good to add on to the bottom of your ads just to give a bit more context and give a little bit more text so that people can see it and go through it. Lead forms, I've experimented with these a lot. A lot of the time they're a pain in the butt. And then people fill out the form in Google, it doesn't get sent somewhere. So people are like, hey, it says I've got lost leads. And they're like, oh, shoot, here's my Google. So it's really a pain. But I'd say just have a look through those and see if you can add anything more. It's definitely worth looking at. Just put that going. So this is essentially it to a Google search heading. We've put there the keywords, we've added the targeting, we've got the URL, which for some reason Mod's saying there's an issue. It's just HTTP.
And then we've crafted headlines, descriptions, and admin sidearms as well. And it's showing us what those ads look like here. So you can see, oh, yeah, it's got headlines and description, what sidelinks, so about us, talking to us. So I found over there. Perfect. Right. Very happy with that. Well, we are the best ad here, but it is what it is. We can always edit that as time goes on. You can also add in links if you want to. If I want to do your Google ads, I can have that in there. It just changes that link at the top there. It doesn't really do much, but it just gives you a little bit more context as to where you're sending. And I can see everyone going hard on the screen, so it seems that you guys are going through it. Once you've done that, you should be pretty much good to go. So we can proceed to the next step. Anybody have any questions? Because this is a bit of work. I'm basically just trying to show you how you can do it, and then in your own time, go through and craft it and spend a bit more time making them super perfect and awesome and all that.
We deal with fire before the time.
Yeah, so it's hidden away under asset types. So it's after you collapsed here. At the very bottom left-hand corner of where you set up your ads, you expand more asset types. There's a few more, and there should be phone calls. Do you see phone calls? Yeah. Oh, okay. You should be able to add, see how we set a plus phone? Should be able to click plus and then add in the phone number. If it doesn't show that.
No, I have.
Yeah.
But I'm going to get that.
Sadly, it seems like the microphone died at this stage. I swear I'm going to get the recording right for our workshops at some stage. Last time it was the GoPro that died. This time it's the microphone. I charge everything, so I apologize profoundly. As fate would have it, that's where we have to end the session. But essentially, that is a Google Ads workshop that we ran to help people in setting up their Google Ads. I'm going to do another video where I walk through how to set up a performance max campaign, because I do think that would be really valuable for yourself, for any small business owner to be able to set up. I'll see if I have a link on YouTube already that I'll be able to pop up here or maybe here, I'm not sure, and see if that could help as well. I do try to put out a bunch of Google Ads content, so if you are interested in setting that up, hopefully a video is popping up on your screen right now. With all that said, I want to thank you for watching our video. If you're still here, fantastic. You've obviously been intrigued enough to stay to the end. And as always, if you are looking for some help, you're welcome to book in a free consult with myself. You can do that at socialgeeks.com.au/links. I'll make sure that I put that in the description. For all of you that are wanting to do Google Ads yourself, I commend you. Well done, good luck, and all the best with your marketing, guys. Until the next episode, take care.